everyone. Welcome to today's session, What's in, What's out 2025 marketing predictions. We'll be running through our digital marketing forecast, specifically looking at trends that we believe will be effective and trends that we believe should be left behind in 2024. If you're sitting in and listening, please make sure to mute yourself so that there's no noise distractions in the background. Also, we are recording the session and we'll send everyone a follow-up email with the recording after the event. If any questions pop up, please throw them in the chat and we'll make sure to get to them at the end during Q&A. All right, so I'm super excited to introduce you all to our 5 speakers and the agenda that we have prepared for today. So each speaker will have roughly 5 to 10 minutes to chat through their area of expertise. We'll start off with Google Ads trends, conversion design, targeted content, customer lists, and deliverability, and then we'll end with organic social. And I also just wanted to thank our partners, Audit and Arita, for participating as guest speakers today. With that being said, I will hand things over to Zach to kick us off.
Excellent. Yeah, thanks for joining here today, guys. So as Cassandra said, name is Zach, Associate Director of E-commerce here at PPC, for PPC, and wanted to just bring you guys some tips and tricks that my team and I have been seeing bring some great results in the new year. So jump right into it. So AI-powered automation, certainly something here to stay and is improving day by day. First-party data and privacy-first advertising. So just making sure you're setting yourself up for a cookieless future, we felt is very important. Generating ad copy via AI, not something that's necessarily lazy. You know, if you use your creativity and can reduce a lot of time doing it. And broad match inclusion, or broad match with brand inclusion, a campaign type, you know, a bit more specific to those Google Ads advertisers. But we've been finding some great results there in the new year. And then, of course, lastly, shifting towards a centralized attribution. You know, one thing we feel is like a lot of brands, they don't really have a true depiction of, you know, their performance. So we recommend, you know, leveraging a centralized attribution. AI-powered automation. So AI is here to stay. So, you know, what is certainly out, we feel, in respect to Google Ads are your manual strategies. So that would include manual bidding, standard shopping. You know, we feel that leveraging these in 2025 is, you know, ticking away at a wall and, you know, not making much progress. So, you know, what is certainly in this year, maximize conversion value with target return on ad spend, maximizing conversions with a target cost per acquisition. These machine learning based strategies, they're improving, you know, more and more as we do progress into 2025. You know, a good example of this would be Performance Max. When this came out about a year ago, it was a black hole in reporting. It seemed to, you know, suck a lot of budget, not yield a lot of revenue or leads. It is improving tenfold within, you know, the last couple of months. So if this is a campaign type that, you know, maybe you as a brand had decided to, you know, put down, wasn't really driving you great results, I strongly recommend revisiting this. So future-proofing your performance. So the third-party cookie is here to stay, but they're getting stale, guys. So Google is, you know, continuing, or they, you know, announced in July that the cookie, you know, would not be going away completely. Rather, options to opt in and opt out via their privacy sandbox initiative. So with that being said, the cookie is, you know, it's not really a reliable data source. So what we strongly recommend is leveraging first-party data. So accuracy, privacy compliant lists rather than, you know, third-party cookies. It's a lot richer of a data source. And, you know, on top of that, we recommend leveraging, you know, multiple sources within first-party data. So, you know, ensuring that you're leveraging, you know, GA4, customer lists from your CRM, you know, and not only, you know, to collect this information is really important in 2025, but to actively leverage them within your campaigns. We find that, first-party data lists, high-quality ones within Performance Max, is a not necessarily cheat code, but a prerequisite, in order to yield consistent revenue or, consistent leads. So AI generated ad copy is not lazy if you're not lazy. When I first started, writing or building Google Ads campaigns, I spent way too much time on ad copy. It's arguably like the most time-consuming task of any build, in my opinion. So what is in, and if you're not doing it, something that I just very strongly recommend doing is leveraging a GPT to assist. So there are a lot of scripts that can be leveraged that are able to, GPT is able to produce exactly what you're looking for. But it's not enough just to use a script. You've got to use your creativity. You got to provide it feedback. Push and pull. If you don't like something, tell it that. If you need to explain something further, do so. We find that if you're able to leverage your creativity and, not just like, put things into the GPT and regurgitate them, that they don't seem robotic. They seem, like they were written by a human. So human guidance is absolutely needed here. Two of the GPTs that we really like are ChatGPT, which is, in my opinion, it's just got a better like memory than, a lot of the other GPTs. Whereas, Gemini, as Google enthusiasts here at Smart Sites, we love Gemini, but, more so for like docs, sheets, slides, Google products work well with Google products. That would make sense. So this one's a bit more nerdy, but, if you manage Google Ads campaigns, very, very interesting. So we found that, just leveraging phrase and exact for like a brand keyword, just those words, like phrase and exact is very, as it sounds, exact. So, we found that by leveraging the strategy, strategy that Smart Sites has touted for a while, that we've been missing out on like ancillary search terms. So what is definitely in is leveraging Broadmatch branded keywords, but with a brand include. So you'll see a screenshot right there. This is within the backend settings, the campaign type. So basically this allows you to add a brand that, it must populate when a user searches for a product. So basically what this does is it captures additional search terms that may not be covered with, the very restrictive exact and phrase, but it also eliminates that, irrelevant search term conversation where if you have the brand inclusion, chances are, it's going to be highly relevant to your brand. So great way to keyword mine, find terms that might not necessarily be doing it for you or might not necessarily identified on your own, but, are able to be found and then leveraged via this strategy. So a very important one that I want to save for last is just shifting towards centralized attribution. So what is certainly out is decentralized attribution. Finger pointing. I included the Spider-Man meme because this is often, Google versus Meta versus Microsoft. They're all pointing at each other saying, we got this revenue, we got these leads, and, the numbers don't always add up. So what we strongly recommend is leveraging a single source of truth attribution platform. One that we love here at Smart Sites, one of our partners, Triple Whale. You're not going to have to worry about double counting. You're not going to have to worry about, overestimating budget towards a platform. That's it also will eliminate like any attribution lag associated with some platforms. For those of you that, have managed accounts that, do exceed, 5-figure sums, you'll find that there's quite a lag. Sometimes your conversions, upwards of 2 to 4 weeks will attribute, and, that may lead to inappropriate decision making when it comes to budgeting. So, our recommendation is to, leverage a single source of truth, and then you'll be able to make more informed decisions with your budgeting, and you'll be able to allocate it towards platforms, channels that, that are really driving your revenue. versus like just guessing and leveraging, separate attribution. So yeah, guys, key takeaways from my end here. AI is your friend. ChatGPT and Performance Max, like they're not going to bite you. They're here to stay. And if you've been resistant towards them, hopefully this is your call to start using them. Future-proofing your user data is very, very important. I'd say that is the #1 trend just within Google Ads currently, is just ensuring that you're collecting, leveraging just some really quality first-party data. And then finally, decentralized attribution is just not cutting it anymore. Brands want to scale and they want to grow within 2025. They're going to need to know where their revenue and their leads are truly coming from. So, by leveraging single source truth reporting, you're going to be able to do that. And, you'll be able to maximize your marketing budget and, see some pretty great strides within 2025. So yeah, guys, that's some of the tips that I wanted to bring here today. So a little nerd about this stuff. I love chatting about it. If you guys have any questions, like please feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to discuss further. And yeah, any way we can help you improve your guys' Google Ads campaigns, we'll be happy to chat. Oh.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Zach. I guess you can unshare your screen and we'll let Sean take over.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thank you. Let me just find my... How do we get this in? Okay, there we go. So thanks everyone for joining. For anyone, just very briefly, for anyone that's not familiar with Audit, we're essentially a conversion design company. All that means is we do a lot of different design deliverables in e-com and SaaS, service businesses, all of it with the focus on how are we getting more conversion out of a design while still balancing kind of a solid brand aesthetic, right? A lot traditional conversion optimization really relies on what can we change no matter what effect it has on the aesthetic or what effect it has on brand trust to increase conversion. So instead of just saying, what does the data say? What do we update to make sure it converts higher? We look at things more long-term in terms of, making all your buttons bright red and flashing might increase conversion short-term, but long-term it's hurting your brand. So a lot of our design is really focused on that experience and making sure the aesthetic aligns with everything that you have going on from a brand perspective and then also converts better. We've worked with over 10,000 brands on that strategy, and my background is mostly in brand work and design work and really long form user experience flows. Lots of work with banks, airlines, anything that's really boring, and how can you get a boring flow to work better. Similar to what Zach was touching on, I think in the conversion space, there's a lot of stuff that you can just kind of get from following certain accounts on Twitter or just best practices. But one thing that's trending, as everyone sees in every space, is utilizing AI to kind of create that brand trust and make things more accessible. So I'm going to walk you through an example of a site that, in my opinion, does it quite well. I think the main thing here, and where it hasn't been to date, is utilizing AI can, in a lot of ways, make it less trustworthy. And what I mean by that is it can look very fake, right? It can look untrustworthy from an aesthetic standpoint. And up till AI took over or is starting to take over, that situation was more stock imagery, right? If you're doing all the imagery and visuals for your site, and there's two options. Before it was, well, we art direct a photo shoot, we spend a bunch of money on planning out all the images we want, take the photos, which can get expensive. And when you want to change things or test things, you've got to do another photo shoot. The alternative has been stock imagery. The issue with stock imagery is, in a lot of cases, it loses brand trust, right? It doesn't feel authentic. It doesn't feel real. And even though customers aren't coming to your site being like, oh, that's a stock image, this sucks, in the back of their minds, when they see something that doesn't feel real, it doesn't give them any trust in the brand from a standpoint of they're not investing in themselves or the brand. And what that can do is start to make the brand trust fall apart. So when you use AI properly to create imagery, you can create brand trust faster. What I mean by that is you can keep things more consistent. And when they're consistent, you'll get people through the site flow easier and faster. You're going to convert higher because when you have really high quality visuals, it elevates the brand experience and it elevates the user experience in a way that, same thing, it's communicating faster. A blurry image or a properly lit image versus one that's dimly lit, that's going to help people understand the products better and get them through it faster. Faster go to market. So if you're launching a brand and you're using AI, you can test different things faster. You can go to market faster because you don't have to spend time taking photo shoots and being like, oh, that didn't work. Okay, let's try something else. Let's go take another photo shoot. So I'm going to share a brand with you that actually they came in for an audit, and I didn't know until he told me at the end of the call, but this entire site, every image, every illustration, every animation, every video, they've used AI. And I think it's a really good example of a brand that really invested the time in figuring out the best way to approach utilizing AI. So if you look at this, we could probably all look at these and say, hey, yeah, it's not really a real person if you look close enough, but a lot of it's just doing a great job of presenting the products. And you can kind of look away from the human side of it and have an understanding of the quality of the product a lot easier based on just the versatility of AI, right? Like the images of the products flat on certain surfaces and textures that make it pop and make it diverse across the site. Something like this. This is a stupid photo, but it pulls in the brand aspect. It's unique. It looks like something that they took two people out into this, mountainside and got masks made, and there's effort and time, and it feels like they've invested in the brand, even though it's just AI and it probably took 3 seconds. That prompt or whatever they put in there put out something that felt on brand. And the same thing goes like all their secondary assets, right? The close-up of the product, everything on the site, every single image is AI. And this video, all of it illustration, it all feels, instead of just saying, okay, well, where can we use AI? They went all in and said, okay, well, let's just make a balance and make sure that it's creatively consistent across the site. And it's one of the very rare examples I've seen with e-com in particular, where everything just feels consistent, right? Like to obtain all of these photos with a photographer would cost so much money and take so much time. And they've achieved it with exclusively AI. And it's, again, this is not like an easy task, right? It's quite difficult to get this consistency in AI. But what I'm getting at is we're getting there, right? If a brand can achieve this, there's issues, right? Like some of the people don't look perfectly human. You know what I mean? It's not like they're almost like too perfect, but overall, they've achieved that consistency that every brand that's really trying to stand out and make a name for themselves is striving for. And you can't do that in stock images. And without the right art direction and spending a lot of money, you can't do that with a photographer. It's really difficult and it's very expensive. And so the main thing I'm getting at here is, ignoring AI or how you're achieving things. It's in a lot of cases better to have no photo, or like in this case, right? There's the product flat. Getting the product shot flat can be an easy task sometimes, right? If you have it's just moving a new product under the camera and you're just taking them all. Getting the product in a unique setting for every hover state, that's really hard. That takes a lot of time and planning. And it adds to the experience here in a way that, again, it helps them start to justify their price point. If this was a $20 sweater or $100 jacket, it's different, but we're talking 500 euros, 240 euros. And so all those little details of the imagery to make them feel really dialed in, all you're doing is chipping away at price sensitivity. And so when you start to go through and everything is consistent, whether you're selling clothing or services or a SaaS product, all of this becomes extremely important for trust building, right? It's like when you walk into a doctor's office or you walk into a retail store. If I walk into a retail store and, you know, sometimes you go into them and the stuff on the shelving isn't organized, right? It's kind of everywhere. Or you walk into a doctor's office and the lighting is bad and it kind of smells and the receptionist isn't polite. All of these consistencies across a brand are what affect your price sensitivity, your willingness to spend money, your willingness to visit again. If a retail store is unorganized, you're going to spend less money. That's why the IKEA model works so well. It's based on organization, and they inject that into every part of their experience. It's no different with websites. The more consistent they are, the more consistent it is across every touch point visually, the more willing people are to spend money and trust in the brand. And I think to date, it's been really hard to do that without spending a lot of money and time without AI. And I think this site is a really good example of how you can leverage that and that it's possible to do it with AI without spending a ton of money. I think a lot of brands, they look at creative as one of those things where it's very cherished and you can't use AI to get it right. I think there's lots of gaps in this and there's ways that it could probably be better. And if they were to recreate all of these with a photographer exactly how they are, it might be a little bit more dialed in, but this is damn close. And I think this kind of just points us to where we're going, which is you're going to make it, it's going to be made a lot easier and the playing field is going to level a little bit, where the brands that are falling to the wayside because they don't get creative or they don't understand creative direction or art direction and how to make these things consistent, that playing field is leveled a little bit because AI can help do a lot of it for you. So I don't have the exact formula for you because it's one of those things where you really do have to explore. But I think I would urge everyone to keep testing and learning more about how to utilize AI, whether it's for copy, to Zach's point, or for imagery. Nailing that consistency is the most important part of your website experience, right? Making sure things are consistent across the site visually and aesthetically. That's what builds trust in brands. And that's what affects your conversion, honestly, the most. And that's what we focus on a lot of in our audit reports. It's some experience stuff, but a lot of it is just visually, right? Does this make me feel good about the product or does it make me hesitate? That's the main thing you're trying to do. And I think as AI progresses, especially with visuals, it's going to become easier and easier. So for me, it's something to look forward to. This was just happened to be the first one I came across where there were certain pieces of it where I was like, oh, I didn't realize that was AI. Usually you see it and you're like, okay, this is AI. It looks like a fake person. They look like they were painted. So yeah, I hope that was helpful. If you do want to chat through your website or a website you're working on or a client's website, feel free to reach out to us. I think you can email me directly, sean@audit.co, or head to our website and book a call with us. There's no pressure to buy anything. A lot of times we just get on calls with customers and brands and just chat through how can they do things like this? How can they achieve this? What's inconsistent that needs to be updated on their site, stuff like that. But like I said, overall, I think AI is moving in the right direction to a point where brands will be able to leverage it and create a really high-end experience without spending a ton of time and a ton of money.
Awesome. Thank you so much for showing that example. I think that's like one of the largest challenges a lot of companies face, are just getting that right, like photography and imagery for their site. Do you happen to know what tool they use for those photos, or not really?
I emailed the founder before the call to get that, and he hasn't got back to me yet, but I will email it to you as soon as he does, and I'll send it to everyone. We have a brand we work with named Suna, if anyone's heard of it. Suna primarily focuses on you send them your product and they take photos for you, but they do have a new program they're working on where they're leveraging AI, and right now it's only in market where you go in and you use their AI tool, but they are launching a service where it's similar to that Sheep Inc. one. You would send them references and things you want to achieve, and then they help build out all the imagery through AI. Which honestly, for a lot of brands, that's how AI is probably going to be used for the next few years. It's not your team learning how to do it perfectly to get that kind of Sheep Inc. look. It's finding a consultant or a brand that can help you do it and achieve those results.
Yeah.
Still for a lot less money, but with someone kind of holding your hand through it, because it's not, getting those 200 images they made and being that consistent is not easy, even with AI. So I think that's probably the next stepping stone. And then in a few years, it'll be way more accessible.
Yeah, that makes sense. Awesome. Great job. Brandy, you're up.
Oh, excuse me, I was on mute. All right. So I'm Brandy. I'm SEO strategist here at Smart Sites. So I'm just going to walk through a few of our ins and outs for SEO in 2025. So what's out? Over reliance on top of funnel content and Google's monopoly on discovery. So what exactly do I mean by that? The decline of broad top of funnel content. Is that to say top of funnel content, top of funnel targeting is out? No, but it's not our focus for SEO. I'll talk a little bit more about how that's shifting to other channels later on. But for now, we know that this is not new. Google's been stealing kind of these top of funnel questions for a long time through people also ask questions, featured snippets, anything that they can do to keep you in that SERP for longer and stop you from going through to clicking through, they're going to do. It's in Google's interest, and we don't expect this to change. We expect this to continue, because if you have a very simple to answer question, Google wants to answer it instead of sending people through to your site. So what do we do about this? This has really been kicked into overdrive with the AI overviews. So we need to give these quick answers are not really what we want to focus on. We want to go into these deeper questions and answers. The new customer journey is one of the big challenges here to this top of funnel strategies. So search is really losing its market share. We've already seen this year, for one of the first times in history in the past decade, Google itself is dropping below 90% of market share in the first time in like a decade. But we're also seeing Google's not just losing traffic, search in general is losing traffic, organic search engines. Especially like this is an imperfect graph here. It's showing Google at about 83% of the market share, but it's definitely even lower than that when we're looking at like app usage and phone usage, and when we're looking at actual differences between generations. So if you're looking at a younger person, Gen X, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, like they're definitely using TikTok and YouTube more than these traditional search engines. Brands can't rely on SEO anymore. They have to diversify. So that's where those top of funnel kind of questions and answers are shifting to. This is where, you want to get that engagement on social media, and that brand awareness phase is really shifting to social media and, all these other channels, ChatGPT and things like that. So where does that leave us? What's in? So we're focusing on precise audience targeting and bona fide expertise. So how do we do that? Audience intent over search volume. So we're more interested in being precise, being exact, and being the person that you want to go to for your questions than actually answering the most questions. Prioritizing the high search intent over volume. So we need to rethink the way that we're doing this keyword research. If you're looking at keywords that simply have the most volume, you're missing the point. We need to focus on maybe things that have low or extremely low search volume, but speaks exactly to a specific problem, a specific user. So that means doing your homework and knowing your ideal customer persona or your buyer persona, however you define that, and actually speaking to them directly. Keeping it within your wheelhouse as well. Learning from content powerhouses who have really struggled over the past couple of updates. HubSpot is one well known in the industry. They wrote the book on writing the book on marketing, and now we've seen in the last like algorithm update, they've really been suffering because they've kind of spread themselves too thin with their content, trying to write about every single little niche. Google isn't seeing them as being the number one source on anything in particular, and so they're losing all these SERP battles for the more tangential content. So I won't be surprised to see them doing exactly this in the next couple months. Go niche, go deep, go deep, not wide, really targeting in on exactly what you know about, and writing with authority. 61% of marketers report that creating original content like research or case studies is the most effective. Are those easy to write? Absolutely not. They're more research intensive. You have to actually, bring something to the table that hasn't been talked about before. It means quality over quantity. Write the best content that you can have, put everything into it, instead of casting these super wide nets. And then hyper-targeted content and real expertise. So 83% of consumers say they trust expert opinions more than general recommendations. Of course, we all know that. But Google actually trusts that as well. So Google is rewarding content from true subject matter expertise. Practically, what does that actually mean? Flaunt your credentials. Make sure that if you're writing about content, you actually have author pages that are linked from your actual content to those author pages, and those author pages define in a way that Google can actually understand who you are, what you do, and why you know about this. So that's writing a bio, great, but Google understands entities. So we need to make sure that we're speaking its language and sending links back to all of this, like social media profiles, and anything else on the internet that kind of defines who you are and strengthens those signals. And then schema, of course, like person schema that can tell Google that you're a person and that you know about your subject matter and you really are an expert. So that really helps. Industry niche specific content, is going to outperform that general content. Again, it's harder to write, but there's a reason. Things with value, things that have value are hard earned. So share your knowledge. I think today we all know this here that thought leadership is really important for brands. So if you have an expert, make sure they're getting out in front of the audiences and sharing their knowledge and becoming an authority and the go-to leader on your niche. So that leads me to how to win SEO in 2025. So we want to stay focused. Conduct these pruning exercises to cull that low intent broad content. So don't just stop writing it, get rid of it. If it's not working for you, it could actually be dragging your site down. It seems counterintuitive to a lot of people to think that like removing content from your website can actually help your rankings and your traffic, but it absolutely can. We've seen this time and time again in case studies. Invest in real expert-driven content. Just as I said before, putting your efforts and energy into things and thinking about ways that you can creatively repurpose content. So if you're already doing market research on your users, that may be actually valuable to people in your industry. And write to those actual experts and decision makers, and not just the low and common denominator people who are barely aware of your industry. And then make sure your content is attributed, like I said, and just for that general trust and brand building, but also for Google's algorithm understanding what your site is. And finally, as our friend from Audit just described in detail, do not skimp on your UX. It's not just for the aesthetics, it's for SEO as well. The biggest thing that we took away from the last year or two of SEO is that UX has a direct, not an indirect impact on your rankings. If your user data, click data, how users are interacting with your site, whether they're bouncing back to the SERP, how long they're spending on your site when they find you in search engines, absolutely is having an impact on your rankings. So that is where it comes out of the realm of keyword targeting and into the realm of user experience and conversion rate optimization. So that's all for me. Does anybody have any questions? Awesome. You can reach me here if you have any questions about SEO and want to get on a discovery call or learn more about our services. Not just SEO, but all of the services we have here at Smart Sites. We're happy to talk more with you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brandy. Guess we can head on over to Aaron if you want to share your screen.
I will do this seamlessly. You will be impressed with my technology prowess, and everybody will win. How'd I do?
Beautiful.
Never better, right? Thank you for having me. This has been super informative, so I'm also glad that I got to attend the whole time. Thank you. I'm going to spend a minute or two introducing myself and Arita, and then go into kind of what's in, what's out, which is one of my favorite SNL sketches of the last couple of years. I don't know if anybody, anyway, I won't go down that. I don't know if I'm aging myself. So what do we do? Thank you. Yes, thank you. Okay, never mind. So what do we do? Arita, we're a startup. We're about a year and a half old. I'm very happy, obviously, I'm proud to be partners with Smart Sites. My background, before this, I was a president at Loop Returns. I started a company called Passport that does shipping, and I ran a brand for a while. So ignore the Passport and the Loop. I'm solving a lot of the problems that I had as a brand owner. And my co-founders are both machine learning engineers, solve any and every hard data science problem. The big idea behind Arita is to help you use AI. We talk a lot more about machine learning to improve your segmentation, to help you get in the inbox, right? Which is a deliverability question, to help you stop emailing people who are going to unsubscribe, save them for a period where they will subscribe more. Basically to help you get the absolute most out of your list. Partner with Klaviyo, we're adding others. We also now do direct mail. It's the same conceit. We partner with Postpilot. We're kind of like the outsourced data science team. We're not good at creative. You don't need us for strategy. So I work with Smart Sites. We are very, very good at telling you who are the people who have the screaming signal and really want to hear from you. So you can get the absolute most out of your list. Work with a bunch of brands. Yay. We help brands drive incremental revenue. We help brands find a lot of revenue from their clean list, which I'm going to go into a little bit. We don't think you should ever clean a list. We think you should optimize it. The fact that I don't want to hear from a brand today doesn't mean I never, ever want to hear from them. The fact that I do want to hear from them doesn't mean you should keep emailing me until I unsubscribe. Right? It's kind of the conceit behind the company. Okay, that's us. Happy to answer any other questions. We will also do a free audit for everybody at arita.ai or app.arita.ai. So you can actually, we can't serve everyone. We'll look at your data. We'll tell you what we can do. Enough about us. I'm going to jump in on kind of 4 different themes. I'm going to rattle through these. Happy to chat offline, answer any questions too, obviously about any stuff. So what do we think about incrementality, right? Like if somebody will purchase without an email, don't send an email. If they'll purchase without a text, send them an email, not a text postcard, right? So we think a lot about incrementality. Much more about relationships. That's what I was talking about before. It's not like hammer people until they get annoyed by you, right? Like really try to approach marketing from the perspective of them, not you. Deliverability, which was a hot topic and then became less of a hot topic because everybody freaked out about Klaviyo pricing, but it's still actually like the right topic, right? And then AI, because AI, it's exciting. When we talk about incrementality, that is the name of the game, right? If somebody is going to buy, don't bug them. A lot of models that are trying to tell you what to do, if you think about your business, they'll try to give you a propensity to purchase or propensity to buy. What you really want to do is figure out what is the propensity to buy because I took some action, because I sent an email, right? If brand new was going to buy independent of the email being sent, don't waste the email. And it's not about the cost of that 1/10 of a penny. And it's not about the issues of attribution where email provider plus Google plus Meta equals 400% of your total revenue. It's also just you don't want to create risk in your system, right? Like that person who you worked really hard to acquire as a customer kind of disappearing. So how do you go figure out exactly or not how do you we think a big point of focus, and we obviously do this with email and then soon SMS, but for you guys in any single channel is really running at the data side of things using holdout groups and figuring out hey, would this have happened or what is the action I need to take to drive the action I'm looking for? The second one, cultivating relationships. Again, anybody who's on this call, right? Anybody who works with Smart Sites is thinking strategically. So I get all that, right? Nobody should just send campaigns. I was definitely the founder who would be yes, Cassandra hasn't clicked on the last 26 campaigns, but this this campaign is a campaign she's going to click on, right? So being much more thoughtful with campaigns and flows. And again, thinking about this, I'm thinking more like email and direct mail, cross channel, whatever channel you're using. Like, don't just message everybody. And the flip side, which I think is like probably more uncomfortable to acknowledge, is like, don't just clean your list. If you clean your list, do it intelligently. If you clean your list, guess what? If they're on the like manually suppressed part of Klaviyo, you can still monitor a bunch of data. And we do this programmatically, but you can just do this, right? Manually, be like, oh, this person we cleaned, they actually visited our site. We just won't send them an email because they're on the like inactive profile side of the house, right? So think much more about optimization and think much more about the customer journey. I think probably the right framing is like all of us should take off our marketer hat and put on our consumer hat, right? And like the spirit is like, be the brand, right? That like emails when it's timely. You guys are all good at making it interesting, but email when it's timely, when the person actually wants to hear from you, right? I think everybody's thought a lot about deliverability in like last February when everybody got scared, and then April when it slowly rolled out, and then June, right, when Gmail started to hammer everybody with deliverability. Klaviyo and other providers have awesome like deliverability scores and like give you a good sense. It's all directional. The biggest thing I would think about on deliverability is like, if you think about deliverability like a credit card score, if you can get a credit rating of 750, awesome. It'll take a lot of work to get you to 800. Do you really need to get to 800 or not, right? And so I think what we see, and I think where maybe like mentality is shifting or needs to shift at least into 2025, is don't think about each of these as like kind of point issues, like, oh, well, I got to drive up my deliverability, or I've got to drive up my click rate or my open rate. Always look at everything as that balance of like, yep, if you drive up your deliverability, I could do that by shrinking the number of people you send to, improving your click rate by sending it to only family members. You're going to forego a lot of revenue. And the flip side is if you hammer everybody, right, and you have a lower click rate or a higher spam rate or higher unsubscribe rate, you're going to start ending up in spam instead of in the inbox. Right. And so the more you can kind of look at this, I think on like the entire journey, I think the better in that regard. Last, AI. How do we use it? How do we predict churn? Right. How do you complement? It is wonderful to see all the like generative AI tools. Right. We were talking about the like audit at the beginning was obviously talking about this as well. Like there's so much you can do. I think our perspective is within a year, every single brand, and when we say brand, we don't just mean like Shopify brands, we mean like Wells Fargo, UPS, like every single company in the world will have tools that will help send a personalized video to you from the CEO, right? It's like, Sean, thanks for your purchase 18 months ago. Here's this new product. We thought you might like it, right? And so we look at that as like, okay, there's going to be much, much, much better content, but there's going to be much better content from everywhere. And there's much better content in every single channel, right? It's not just like direct mail catalogs like it used to be, right? Or email or SMS. It's like TikTok shops and it's Shop Pay. And like, there will be more and more and more channels, right? Like I saw an article, Reels might be spinning out. I'm sure there will be Reel shops, right? At some point. And it's like, there are all these different services with all this better content, not just from all of us, right? Like all of these amazing brands, but also from like every other company in the world. So the question is, how do you figure out when do people want to hear from you? When are they listening? And I think the more you can use, like, again, we do a piece of this. We obviously can't do everything, but like the more you can put yourself in the shoes of that customer and figure out when does she want to hear from you and in what channel, like what is best for her, not when do you want to talk, but like when are they listening, when your customer's listening, the better. And I think what you really need to wrap your head around is like trying very hard to move away from rules-based and start leveraging AI. Like almost all this is solved because it's a big data problem. It's like unlimited customers times unlimited behaviors over like long periods of time. And it's not just like, when is she going to buy? It's like, when is email going to impact her interest in buying? Or when is a postcard or a text or a retargeting ad or whatever it is? I don't have a great solution for this, but in terms of like, where does everybody need to start thinking? I think it's about like acquiring somebody's attention, right? Especially through your own channels. Somebody's scrolling on Instagram, yep, you have their attention. If they're watching the Super Bowl, you have their attention. If it hits their inbox, I mean, my inbox has 600 emails in it. Nobody has my attention, right? I'm just like going and like trying to process as much as possible. That was a lot. I don't have any really good answers for you, but that's kind of what we're thinking about. And the last thing, happy to run audits. Like, again, we can do a lot of this on the email side. We can do a lot of this on the direct mail. We're also just happy to chat and like talk through, kind of what we see happening in the ecosystem. So try to be quick. Hopefully that was useful. Thanks.
Super useful, Aaron, and we love an audit. I think all three of us can provide really valuable, audits to anybody who's here on the call. So that's great. Did anybody have a question? Can't tell. I heard a little ping or something, but also I guess we can move on to Kimber, who is our last speaker for today.
Hi, everybody. Okay, I'll go ahead and share my screen here. My name is Kimber Hines. I'm the director of social media here at SmartSites. Sorry, I was struggling to do two things at once. Thank you all for attending. I'm excited to share a couple things about organic social media with you. So in my department here, we do organic social media management, and we also manage influencer marketing for clients as well. So a lot of this is going to go hand in hand with both of those services. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started here. Okay, so what's in and what's out for this year? We're going to go over a couple different topics today: social commerce, long and short form video, authentic content, and entertainment-driven content, which is what we're seeing a really huge uptick in. So this is a what's in. I do not have an out for this one. I couldn't think of anything, that's kind of polar opposite of this, but social commerce is really, really big right now, and we expect it to get much bigger through this year and the coming years. So what is it? It's basically when people buy stuff off of social media channels. So you've got TikTok Shop, you've got Instagram Shop. I know you can buy stuff off Pinterest as well. We don't do a lot with Pinterest, but we do a lot of Instagram and TikTok Shop setup. So that's basically what it is. It's just another way for consumers to purchase products. Popular ways to use it: in-app shopping, posts with products tagged in them, which is where those shops really come in handy, and live shopping channels. So I don't know if you've ever been on somebody's TikTok channel when they're actually talking and selling products live. I am a culprit. I buy way too much stuff off of social media, but it's extremely popular with your early 20s to probably about early 40s generations. This is just how we shop now a lot of times. Benefits of these: so seamless, efficient experience, especially for impulse buys. This is where it's very popular for social media, is that impulse buy. Anything like up to $100, $150, sometimes a little more depending on your audience, but you don't have to leave the app to make a purchase. The easier it is, the more likely people are to spend money with your business. Higher engagement rates. This encourages interaction, sharing, clicking, all of that good stuff, which is going to give those algorithms a boost and get your social media content shared and seen and liked by more people than if it was not interactive. For businesses, it allows for the data-driven insights as well. We can track things a lot closer when you've got those shops set up. Another specific for business: increase in trust through social proof and recommendations. I'm sure you've seen on your Facebook feed a product or a business pop up, and you read through the comments. I mean, I do anyways, to see, all right, who has purchased it? What are they saying? I take it with a grain of salt, because you never know like what's real and what's not anymore. But again, that live interaction, the comments, the talking about the products and the business, that is a big boost in trust for your business. Just a couple fun stats on this one down here, since I didn't have a what's out in comparison to this. By 2030, social commerce revenue is expected to reach $6.2 trillion, which is amazing. Around 1 million Facebook users buy things in platform monthly. Consumer spending on TikTok has exceeded $2.5 billion globally. So again, just some really great stats to show you how much people really are buying directly through social media. Okay, moving on to the next one here: short and long form video. So this is what's in right now, and I foresee it continuing to be in for the foreseeable future. Short form video can range anywhere from a few seconds to a couple minutes long, and long form video is more in the 5 to 10 minute range. Benefits of long and short form video. So short form video is attention grabbing. It makes users want more, encourages high engagement and repeat viewers as well. It can also encourage repeat watches of a video, because a lot of times people will go back and rewatch it or watch it 2 or 3 times. This as seen as like engagement, and it will give, again, those algorithms a boost for your organic content. Short form video is easily shareable. This makes driving higher reach, awareness, and engagement easier as well. Long form video consists of deeper storytelling. This allows for more in-depth content, such as tutorials, experience sharing, storytelling. I'm sure you've heard that. That's been a hot word for a while. Documentaries, all of that good stuff. Long form video provides monetization options. So this is where you start to see creators specifically make money. They can advertise on their page. Businesses have also monetized their accounts as well. There's more ad placement options that would equate to better revenue for creators as well. So what's out? Text-only posts. These are still popular on some platforms such as X. My brain still wants to say Twitter. I don't know if I'll ever be able to say X the first try. But text-only posts are just less engaging. They can still work for very, very specific reasonings in industries and maybe on specific platforms. But for the most part, users nowadays want something that they can look at. It's the visual that really stops people from scrolling on. Okay, moving on to the next one, authentic and personalization content. We are seeing a shift from the sales type posts, the promotional type posts, to people want to buy from people, basically, is what it comes down to. So originality, genuine content, trustworthy material that resonates with your intended audience, through transparency, again, just being relatable and value driven. Like, what are we telling people? So what makes this content authentic and personable? Find a balance between storytelling and helping. Use what makes you or your business unique to relate with your audience, while also showing how you or your business or your product or your service can help solve their problems. People want to know how you can help them. Imagery, again, going back to the visuals, using real imagery and video and incorporating people, individuals over stock. Stock is fine, but finding stock that resonates with your audience is also very crucial. But anytime you can use real images, real videos, you know, of you or your employees or people within your business talking, it's going to go over much better. Create content that encourages conversations and interaction. Ask questions. Don't just talk at people all the time. You know, make them want to be involved with you. Leveraging user-generated content. This is really, really big. This is going to give you that real feel, that authenticity. If people are posting images of your product or asking them via email for that, that also makes really wonderful content as well. Go live unscripted. I know people hate to hear this because not a lot of people are comfortable just going live on their social media. But again, people crave that personal interaction and people want to buy from people, not from bots or perfection. Showcase your wins, but also your challenges. This is a really great way to connect with other humans. We're not perfect. Not everything we do is perfect as an individual or as a business. So sharing your challenges and making the world basically see that you're also human and what you gained from that is going to humanize your brand. Final thought, be real, not perfect. So benefits of this, it builds trust, increases your credibility, increases engagement and audience interaction, shows the uniqueness of your brand over others, and algorithms will prioritize engagement and that content to drive more interaction as well. What's out? Again, we're going to go to text-only posts here. They're less effective, less engaging. There's no personalization to them. Anything that is super salesy based, anything with a CTA, click now, buy now, anything you're speaking at people is going to be less effective for you. What's in entertainment-driven content? So what does this mean? Content that encourages interaction, engagement, makes people think, and captures their attention. The benefits of this is higher engagement rates, authentic audience and building growth, more likely to reach new audiences via shares, and that support of the algorithms as well. Examples of this, memes and GIFs. We live in meme culture, especially millennials like myself. We love memes. They're relatable. I have bought things based on a meme before. I hate to admit that, but I absolutely have. Video content with purpose that will capture attention. We have short attention spans now. That's why short form video is so in right now, and text is so out. People don't want to have to sit there and read a paragraph when they could listen to a 20-second video. Just get some parodies. SNL. I follow SNL on TikTok, and it's amazing. From the previous speaker who said that. Behind the scenes, realistic and authentic content, storytelling narrative. Gamified is what they call it. So polls, quizzes, anything where people can interact with you. People love to give their opinions. They love to give their vote. Pop culture and nostalgic references. Again, very big with certain generations. What's out? Promotional content. So simply put, people are on social media to be social. They don't love to be sold to all the time. If sales type or CTA driven in a salesy manage are more than 50% of your strategy, you're going to face low engagement. That's just all there is to it. People will get tired of seeing it. They won't interact with it. And a couple things could happen as a subsequent to that. They're either going to unfollow you because they're tired of seeing it, or because they don't interact it, they won't see your posts anymore. Organically speaking, not talking about if we're boosting or anything like that, but organically speaking, only around 2 to 3% of your audience sees your posts. So when people stop engaging with it, even less than that are going to see your posts, which obviously is also not a great place for you to be in. Okay, so key takeaways. If you're an e-commerce business, make sure all your shops are set up and being used properly to make buying easier for consumers. Again, our life goal on social media is to build community, build brand awareness, make people aware that you exist, and make their lives easier. Whether that's shopping, whether that's finding information, make it easy on them. Utilize video, preferably in that authentic and real way. Content should be real and relatable. Again, people buy from people. Content should solve a problem or add value to your consumers. Social media should be social and entertaining. Give them a reason to follow and interact with you. And again, straight up promotional posts all the time are just not going to do it for most people. Any questions? Okay, well, when you get these slides, there will be a link here. You are more than welcome to schedule a 15-minute consultation with me if you'd like, and I'd be happy to answer any questions anybody has.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kimber, and amazing job to everyone else before her. I know we only have a couple more minutes left, but I did want to open it up to Q&A in case anybody listening in does have any questions that they saved towards the end. I know I saw one question in the chat from Alyssa, so thanks for submitting that. She wanted to know if there were if any of the speakers knew of any AI tool suggestions specifically for those images. I know Sean said he reached out to that one company, but was curious if anybody else knows of any like AI tools that create really powerful images. I know there's a ton of different options out there, so I wanted to open it up to you guys.
Sorry, everyone. I wish I had an answer for you. I'm working on it. I'll get you the one that Sheep Ink uses, and hopefully that'll be helpful.
Okay, awesome. I appreciate it. And I think just off the top of my head, I know we're partnered with a company called Tolstoy, Go Tolstoy, and they do more so interactive videos. But I was actually talking to them the other day, and they have a new product offering, which is kind of similar to what you were showing, Sean, where you upload like one product image, and then they create like a video, like an AI generated like video that looks really good. So that's the only one that comes to mind from my end, but definitely something to look into, and we'll be, yeah. Oh, you're welcome.
+1 for Tolstoy. They're great.
Yeah, we use them on our site as well. They're awesome.
That's cool.
Any other questions? I know there were a couple of questions submitted when people registered. I know we're kind of at time, but I can ask a couple of those. So somebody wanted to know like how AI is affecting like how brands present themselves online. I think that would be a good one for Sean.
Sorry, what was the question?
Yeah, like have you noticed any, like has AI affected the way people are showing up online?
I think it has, but for me, in my opinion, it's been a negative effect. I think people are using it as kind of and empowering them to be lazy, to put it like that. They're using it for copywriting without then editing themselves. Like even our team does it, right? Where we'll kind of frame out a landing page or a page of the site, and they'll use AI to kind of dial things in. I personally, whether it's copy, whether it's imagery, the human touch, at least at this point, it's not surpassed. So we always take a second look at things, because I think a lot of brands are leaning too much into it. And at least from my standpoint, like I can tell when AI has written something, right? it's like reading something from someone who went to, you know, took literature in school. It's always too wordy. And obviously you can prompt it to say less, but a lot of customers and brands that are using it right now, they're just kind of blanket using it without being really detailed with it. So for me, it's not really helpful right now. I think over the next few years, we'll see it become way more, you won't be able to tell the difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Another question somebody submitted was, what's the biggest B2B trend in digital advertising? So I wanted to see if Zach had any insights there, specifically for B2B.
I'll be honest. Majority of clients that I work with, you know, are direct to consumer. I mean, like I'd say first party data in respect to just business to business efforts are increasingly important, just with the volume of third party cookies decreasing and just with B2B leads being generally less volume than B2C leads. I would say that just having really dialed in customer lists, first party customer lists, is a way that you can combat some negative performance just due to cookie deprecation. So
Awesome. All right. Well, I know we are a little over time, so if there's no other questions, I just want to thank the speakers again. I know Aaron had to hop off, but thank you everyone else who stayed on and listened in. We really appreciate it, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your Thursday. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, guys.